Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Cowboys Nation, today we're diving deep into a story that's been stirring up a lot of excitement, speculation, and even some controversy among fans and analysts alike. It's about a bold move by the Dallas Cowboys, one that could potentially reshape their defensive future, bring new energy, and maybe even set the stage for a postseason run unlike any we've seen in recent years. So buckle up, because what's happening right now is not just a minor coaching change. It's a strategic pivot that could define the Cowboys' 2024 season and beyond. Let's start by setting the scene. The Cowboys, as many of you know, have been dealing with some long-standing issues on the defensive side of the ball. For years, their defense has been a paradox, capable of flashes of brilliance, especially along the defensive line with stars like Osa Odighizuwa, Quinnen Williams if he resigns, and Kenny Clark if he ends up returning. But despite this talent, the team has struggled massively in other areas, particularly in coverage and run defense. Last season, the numbers were brutal. Dallas finished 32nd in points allowed, a staggering statistic that reflects how many opponents were able to move the ball and score at will. They also ranked 30th in yards allowed, showing that it wasn't just about tight red zone defense but about giving up big chunks of yardage consistently. This paints a clear picture. The Cowboys have a talent problem, not just a scheme problem. They have the pieces to be a top-tier defense. But the execution and, most importantly, the talent level in the secondary have been severely lacking. So when news broke that Dallas was hiring Christian Parker as their new defensive coordinator, it caused quite a stir. Because Parker isn't just another retread coach or a veteran looking for redemption. No, he's a young, untested 34-year-old and a former defensive backs coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, with stints in Denver and now with Dallas. Now, this might seem like a gamble, after all, a first-time coordinator at such a young age. But therein lies the brilliance, or at least the potential, of this move. It's a strategic break from the recent pattern of Dallas relying on older, more established coaches like Mike Zimmer or Matt Eberflus, both of whom, despite their experience, proved to be mismatched with the Cowboys' current roster and scheme. Remember, Dallas has historically leaned on veteran hires, often with the hope that these coaches can bring a sense of stability or redemption. But that approach has its flaws. Sometimes it results in stagnation or worse, misfits that don't fit the team's identity. Christian Parker, on the other hand, represents a fresh perspective. His background is intriguing. He's been honing his craft with some of the league's best, especially with the Eagles' secondary, working with Patrick Surtain in Denver. He developed a reputation for developing young talent and understanding defensive back techniques, coverage schemes, and the intricacies of pass defense. His work with Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell in Philadelphia has been highly regarded, especially considering how quickly those young players have developed under his tutelage. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can a young, relatively untested defensive coordinator really turn the Cowboys' defense around? That's the million-dollar question. And honestly, it's a question that doesn't have a simple answer. Because coaching is one thing, but the talent on the field is another. You see, the Cowboys' biggest challenge isn't just scheme or coaching, it's personnel. And here's where the story gets even more complex. Let's analyze the current state of the Cowboys' defense in more detail. As I mentioned, their defensive line is a bright spot. Osa Odighizuwa has shown he can be disruptive. And if Kenny Clark returns healthy and motivated, he could be a force along the interior. Quinnen Williams, if re-signed, would be a huge boost, providing both pass rush and run-stopping ability. Jadeveon Clowney, a veteran edge rusher, was a notable contributor last season, and re-signing him should be a priority for Dallas. His ability to rush the passer and set the edge against the run makes him a valuable piece, especially if paired with a developing young linebacker core. But it's the secondary where the issues are most glaring. Last year, the Cowboys' coverage units were historically bad. A PFF grade of 30.9 for coverage, that's near the bottom of the league, showing how often opponents found holes, converted third downs, and scored with little resistance. The run defense wasn't much better, ranking 26th with a PFF grade of 40.0. This combination of poor coverage and weak run defense made Dallas's defense predictable and vulnerable, especially in high-pressure situations. Now let's consider what Christian Parker's philosophy might bring to this team. Given his background, he's likely to emphasize aggressive coverage schemes, better communication, and development of young talent. His experience with Patrick Surtain, one of the best corners in the league, indicates he has a knack for coaching elite defenders and maximizing their potential. Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell, two young players who have expressed high regard for Parker, suggest that he's already making an impact at the developmental level. What does this mean for the Cowboys? Well, if Parker can successfully implement a more cohesive and aggressive coverage scheme, Dallas could drastically reduce the big plays they've surrendered in recent seasons. Imagine a defense where teams can't just pick on the secondary anymore, forcing offenses to be more patient and less explosive. That could open up opportunities for the Cowboys to generate turnovers, get off the field more frequently, and give their offense more chances to score. But let's not forget, schemes only go so far without talent. It's clear that Dallas needs to invest heavily in the secondary this offseason. Veteran cornerbacks and safeties are a priority, and drafting or acquiring young, athletic defenders will be crucial. Re-signing Jadeveon Clowney remains a priority, especially given his proven ability to rush the passer and set a hard edge. Improving the linebacker core with a solid middle linebacker to complement DeMarvion Overshone is another pressing need, particularly to shore up the run defense and provide better coverage support. Now, I want to pause here for a moment. Think about the bigger picture. The Cowboys have been in a bit of a rut in recent years. High expectations, talented rosters, yet inconsistent results. Their defense has often been the Achilles heel, and the recent coaching hires reflect a desire to change that narrative. Christian Parker's appointment signifies a willingness to take risks, to invest in youth, and to innovate schematically. It's a bold move and one that could either pay huge dividends or require patience and perseverance. Looking at the historical context, the Cowboys have often oscillated between aggressive, innovative defenses and more conservative, veteran-based schemes. Their 2018 Super Bowl run, for example, was powered by a stout defense that created turnovers and pressured quarterbacks relentlessly. Since then, injuries, scheme shifts, and personnel changes have derailed that momentum. The hiring of Parker could be the start of a new chapter, one where Dallas focuses on developing talent, playing disciplined, aggressive defense, and emphasizing communication in the secondary. What about the upcoming season? Well, the schedule is relatively tough, with several high-powered offenses on the horizon. The NFC East rivals will be especially important games against the Eagles, Giants, and Commanders will test the new defensive schemes and the young talent Parker will bring into the fold. The motivation and development of players like Cooper DeJean and Quinion Mitchell will be key. If they can step up along with a healthy Jadeveon Clowney and a revamped linebacker group, Dallas could surprise many. And let's not forget the importance of the coaching staff. Parker's role as a first-time DC might be complemented by experienced assistants, perhaps from the Eagles or other successful defenses. Building a cohesive coaching staff that aligns with his vision will be vital. The team's culture, leadership from players like Micah Parsons, who remains the cornerstone of the defense, and the collective effort to improve communication and execution could make the difference between a middling defense and a top-tier unit. Now, what can we expect in terms of season projections? Well, if Parker manages to implement his scheme effectively, and if Dallas invests wisely in the secondary during free agency and the draft, they could climb from the bottom of the league to something more respectable, possibly finishing in the middle of the pack or better in points allowed and yardage. That alone would be a massive upgrade and could propel them into playoff contention, especially if their offense, which has been solid, continues to perform at a high level. But it's also worth considering the potential pitfalls. Change is never easy, especially with a team that has a championship window. If the secondary doesn't improve quickly or if injuries strike again, the defense could remain a liability. The pressure will be on Parker to develop players rapidly and to adjust schemes in real time. And of course, the overall health of the team and the development of the offense will influence their success. So what's next for the Cowboys? Well, the offseason is in full swing. Free agency, draft preparations, and organizational decisions are all happening simultaneously. Will they prioritize the secondary? Will they try to bring back Clowney? And what about filling the linebacker spot that's been a revolving door in recent years? These questions are critical because, as we've seen, even the best defensive schemes falter without the right players. Now, let me ask you, what do you think about this bold move? Are you excited about Christian Parker's potential? Do you believe he can turn the Cowboys' defense around? Or are you skeptical, thinking that talent acquisition is the real key? Personally, I see this as a fresh start, a chance to break away from the cycle of hiring coaches seeking redemption and focus instead on developing young, talented defenders and creating a cohesive scheme. It's a gamble, yes, but one that could pay off big if executed correctly. Remember, the NFL is a league where coaching and talent go hand in hand. And with Parker's background and youthful energy, along with the existing talent on the roster, the Cowboys could be on the verge of something exciting. But it's going to require patience, strategic investments, and a clear vision from the front office. The next few months will be crucial in shaping this team's identity and success. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. So as we look ahead, what are the realistic expectations for the Cowboys in 2024? Could this coaching change be the catalyst for a top 10 defense? It's possible, but it will depend heavily on how quickly Parker can implement his vision and how well the team adjusts to a more aggressive, communication-focused scheme. The NFC is loaded with offensive powerhouses, teams like the Eagles, 49ers, and Lions, so Dallas's defense needs to elevate its game if they want a challenge for the postseason and ultimately the Super Bowl. In terms of the division, the NFC East remains one of the most competitive divisions in football. The Eagles, as reigning champions, will be a tough test, especially with their own improvements. The Giants and Commanders are also trending upward, meaning Dallas cannot afford to stumble on defense. Parker's role will be critical in this scenario. If he can get the secondary to gel, create turnovers, and contain some of the league's best defenses, the Cowboys could find themselves in a prime position come December. Now let's reflect on the broader implications. Bringing in a young, innovative coach like Christian Parker signals a shift in how the Cowboys view their defensive future. It's a move that emphasizes development, communication, and strategic aggressiveness. It's a departure from the old guard and an embrace of a more modern, adaptable approach. That's exactly what this team needs, especially after years of inconsistent defensive performances and coaching carousel moves. And I have to say, the excitement among fans is palpable. Social media has been buzzing with opinions, some optimistic, some cautious. Many are eager to see how Parker's schemes will translate onto the field and whether the team will finally be able to rise above their defensive struggles. The pressure will be immense, but so is the opportunity. It's a chance for Dallas to redefine its identity on defense, to create a unit that opponents fear, and to finally turn the page on a frustrating chapter of mediocrity. In conclusion, what we're witnessing here is not just a coaching hire, it's a statement. The Cowboys are signaling that they're serious about evolving, about investing in their future, and about building a defense that can carry them deep into the playoffs. The next few months will be critical, drafting the right secondary players, re-signing key veterans like Jadeveon Clowney, and giving Parker the talent and support he needs to succeed. So stay tuned, folks, because this story is just beginning. The upcoming season could be one of the most exciting in recent Cowboys history, and it all starts with this bold coaching move. Will it pay off? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the Cowboys are not standing still anymore. They're making moves, and they're doing it with a clear vision of a better, tougher, and more resilient defense. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Are you optimistic about Parker's potential? Do you think he can turn around Dallas's defensive woes? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys.